Oh wow, my camera works. Finally. Okay, whatever. Sorry. Hey YouTube. Finally, I am here. It is a new season of If Loving You Is Wrong. Tyler Perry's show. Haves and have-nots is still my favorite, but you know, I can deal with If Loving You Is Wrong. I'm invested in it now. Okay. So, this was the season premiere. Wasn't horrible, okay? Moved a little faster than I expected. Some characters like Kelly still get on my last nerves, but I will get to her. Anywho, this was season 5. Y'all, let me look at my notes. I'm trying to be professional, okay? No, season 3. Season 3, episode 10, so mid-season premiere, titled A Dame in Distress, okay? So, it starts off with Natalie waking up. She has Lucian laying in the bed next to her. She's heard gunshots. Now, if you guys don't remember, the season ended last season with Kelly, Travis was lurking outside of Kelly's house looking in the window. And then Kelly decides, oh, you know what? I'm going to let him in. Because remember, Natalie gave her a gun to protect herself. Instead, Kelly decided to lure him in and then ask him, take off your clothes. So he's like, oh, girl, I knew you would come around. And so, of course, he starts to about to take off his clothes. And she takes a few steps back. Pow, 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 pow. Right in his chest. He's bleeding and everything. Next thing you know, that's when it goes to the start of this season when Natalie thinks she's heard gunshots. And she's like, Lucian, did you hear that? He's like, no, I didn't hear no gunshots. Whatever. She's freaking out because that's what Natalie's good at. She looks out the window. She sees Travis's car outside. So it takes us back to Kelly's house. Kelly, after she shot him, she simply placed the gun down on the kitchen counter and then was like walking back into a room in her house. And I'm thinking, what is this girl doing? Like, you just gonna leave this man here dead in the front room? And first of all, okay, y'all, I was paranoid because y'all know Travis is crazy. So in my mind, it's like, ooh, he was wearing a bulletproof vest, okay? And he's gonna get up and he is gonna get that gun and he's gonna kill her. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I just be tripping sometimes, okay? That's where my mind goes. Anywho, coming to find out, she goes back to her son's room, Justice, I guess, to make sure, like, he didn't wake up, he's okay, whatever, try to act normal, goes, shuts his door, and then lays in his bed with him, and he's like, oh, what was that? She's like, nothing, just go to sleep. I'm like, oh, she's out of her mind. Okay, anyways. So after she lays in the bed with Justice, Natalie, you know, she had just noticed that Travis's car was outside of Kelly's house. So she wakes up Lucian like, no, I know I heard gunshots. I know I'm not tripping. You need to go over there and see what has happened, okay? Because Travis's car is outside. And then he's like, are you kidding me? Okay. So he proceeds to go over there. She about to follow him, of course, because she's nosy Natalie. So he was like, no, you need to stay in the house. She's like, I'm just going to stand on the porch. And he's like, no, stay in the house. Of course, she's still going to stand on the porch. So he goes over there, goes by the front door, and then realizes there's a pool of blood that is leaking from underneath the front door. And he was like, oh my gosh, this is not a drill. This is the real deal. Kelly, I know you over there being nosy. Go and call 911, call the ambulance. I don't know what's going on. So she freaks out to call. Okay. So next thing you know, let me see. He ends up breaking down the door, and Kelly comes out. Well, he's calling Kelly's name. She comes out like, shh, shh, shh. Justice is sleeping. And I'm like, girl, you got a whole dead body on your floor, okay? Don't nobody care about your baby sleeping. Maybe you just don't want him to see this. I get that. So then he's like, what is going on? Like, how did he get in here? Like, was the alarm on? She said, no, the alarm wasn't on. Why wasn't it on? Because I turned it off. Okay, well, why did you turn it off? Because I killed him. I shot him, okay? He made my life a living hell. I shot him. And then he's like, wait, what? Okay, like, stop talking. Don't say things like that. She's like, nope, he deserved it. He was at my window. But she is like out of it, like lost, like almost getting on my nerves. And maybe I've just never seen anybody in shock before. But she's like, he was at my window. And then I let him in my door. I turned the alarm off. and I shot him. I shot him. And then, so he's checking Travis, and he's like, oh my gosh, you know, he still has a pulse. We can save him. Call 911. She was like, I'm not calling 911. Like, he needs to die, okay? I'm not going to call 911 so they can save him. No, he needs to die. He's done too much to me as it is. I killed him. I'm happy I killed him. That's what it is. And he's like, first of all, stop talking. Stop saying that, because the police are coming over here and you cannot say that to them. You're in shock right now. Just calm down. So whatever. He calls Natalie and is like, Natalie, you need to come get your girl. Get justice. Take them out the back door. Calm her down. Make sure she stops talking, because the story she's giving, which is the true story, like, that's about to put her in jail for the rest of her life. Tell her to chill out. Okay, so Kelly is just like, you would think like Kelly is like high or something right now, because she's just totally out of it. Like, she knows the police are coming. She's like, oh, are the police here? Tell them I killed him. I killed him. I shot him. Yes, it was me. He deserved it. And I'm like, girl, chill out, okay? You already have a pending case from all the stuff that Travis tried to pin on you. Okay, anywho, so then Lucius, I always do that. Lucian thought it was a good idea to call Ian, which, from my knowledge, I thought that Ian dropped Kelly. Like, he's no longer her lawyer, because he's actually Travis's lawyer, because Travis's family pays a lot of money to the law firm that he works at, gives them a lot of cases. Whatever the case, I thought he dropped Kelly, and he apologized to Lucian last season for having to drop her. But apparently, he's still working on her case. So Ian is like after Lucian explained everything to him, Ian was in bed. He got out of bed like, okay, whatever. I'll come over there. We can figure this out. Make sure she doesn't say anything to the police. Okay, cool. So then we see Marcy and Brad. So, of course, at the end of last season, Marcy, like, had a flat tire or something, and Brad got up in the middle of the night to go get her. Now, this whole Marcy and Brad dynamic is getting on my nerves, because either you're going to be with your wife, and you're going to be with her 100%, or you're not going to be with her at all, okay? This whole I'm in love with two people. Like, first of all, two rights don't make a wrong. I know that Alex did you dirty, and you left her for a period of time. And when you left her, y'all were getting a divorce. Whatever, but the fact that you're choosing to stay with her, but you're choosing to be connected to Marcy, is like ridiculous. And if I was Alex, I would flip out, no matter how much I thought I wanted to be with you. Like, what? You got me bent, okay? Because, like, you're playing way too many games. You cannot have your cake and eat it too. Now, I realize I had some cake and I ate it too, okay? But we're past that, okay? Whatever the case, he is, like, in the car with Marcy, and, like, she's like, oh, is that your wife calling you? She doesn't like you with me? Well, duh. Oh my gosh, you know, I'm ridiculous. I'm pathetic. I'm throwing myself at you. And he's like, you're not ridiculous. You're not pathetic. You know what? I honestly do love you, but I love her too. And she's my wife, and me and you are never going to work. And she's like, you know that she's threatening to tell Randall that I'm pregnant with his baby. And then he's like, what? Why would she do that? She wouldn't do that. She was like, yes, she threatened to tell him. He's like, no, I'm going to have to talk to her about this, because that is not going to be tolerated. And I'm like, boy, bye. Like, girl, tell her to chill out. Like, she be so disrespectful to Alex. Like, and I know that Alex is no angel. Like, Alex is, like, low down dirty. Like, super dirty. But, like, that's your wife. And if you're going to be with her, then stop defending her. Like, stop, like, playing both sides. Like, pick a side, okay? The fact that he's even there right now with Marcy is ridiculous. Girl, call AAA, okay? Like, and you need to sit there and wait. You're a grown woman. Talk to one of your friends on the phone until AAA gets there. Whatever the case, Alex kept calling. He finally decided to pick up, and she was like, hey, there were gunshots next door, and now the police are here. You need to hurry and get here. So he's like, what? Okay. So he's like, we gotta go. Well, while he's talking to Alex, Marcy was listening to her voicemail, and it was from Randall, and what did he say? I gotta tell y'all the exact words. He said, so B, you're pregnant. And then she was like, oh my gosh, Alex told him. And Brad was like, no, she didn't. And she was like, yes, he did, because Randall just left me a message. He was like, I'm going to talk to her about this. This is not going to be tolerated. I'm like, Brad, shut up. Okay, anyways. So Kelly is at Natalie's house, and she is talking to Natalie and Esperanza, and like she's still like freaking out, like they have to cover up her mouth so that she can be quiet because she's trying to literally yell out a statement to the police outside. Yeah, I shot him. Like, girl, shut up. Okay, whatever. So then next thing you know, Brad and Marcy, they pull up and the girls are outside, and they talk to what's his name, Lucian, about like what has happened. Lucian is like kind of like trying to give them like a quick heads up. Was this Lucian? I think Lucian was still over there. Yeah, I'm all over the place. Give me a second. Yeah, they pull up and talk to Lucian and Alex, and they're just giving them an update on what has happened, what they think happened, whatever. Then Brad and Alex end up going into their house, and where Brad confronts Alex about threatening to tell Randall about Marcy's baby. And I'm like, I can't even believe y'all having this argument right now. I just thought that was absolutely ridiculous, and I like hated watching it. Like, I'm getting so tired of their back and forth. Whatever. So I'm just gonna skip that whole part. Okay, so next thing you know, Ian arrives. He checks in with Lucian to get an update as to what's going on. He says he's going to go into Natalie's house and talk to Kelly to calm her down and get a sense of like what has happened. Basically, like they want to make sure that she didn't lure him over there to her house to kill him. Now, if he was already like lurking around outside like he was, then that'll work in her favor. But they're really hoping that he doesn't die in the hospital, because at this point Travis has been taken to the hospital. The ambulance arrived and took him, but it's not looking good for him. So if he dies, that's going to be pretty bad. If he doesn't, that's still bad because he has a powerful family. So either way, it's a lose-lose for Kelly, in my opinion. Okay, anyways, Lucian, he goes and talks to Kelly. And meanwhile, we go over to Randall's house. Eddie is tied up in like this like sex slave dungeon type of gear. From last season, I do remember Larry, the lawyer, and Randall were outside talking to Eddie in the backyard. Next thing you know, they were kind of like messing with him and like they were drunk. Next thing you know, Larry came up behind him and put a plastic bag over his head. So I thought that knocked him out. So maybe they knocked him out and put him in these whips and chains. But they were insinuating during the episode that he put himself in that position and he was into like some like little freaky stuff. I don't know. We shall see how this went. But whatever the case, he's tied up, but his phone is right in front of him on the floor, and he's upstairs in Randall's house. Randall and Larry are asleep on the couch. And so he like gets his toes and steps on his phone and is like, "Hey Siri, call Lucian." Now, yeah, I done said, "Hey Siri." Now my phone is making noises. Anyways. So the phone calls him, and Lucian's not picking up. He's outside talking to the girls. Eddie calls 2 more times. Finally, on the 3rd time, Lucian decides to pick up the phone. He was like, "I'm tied up over here at Randall's house. Can you please come get me? Come fast." And Lucian is like, "Why would I help you?" He's like, "Dude, please come." Okay, whatever. He gets off the phone. Lucian tells the girls about it. In the meantime, Eddie is also calling Esperanza's phone about the same thing, so they decide to go over to the house. They go over to the house. They all go inside. First of all, Marcy still has a key because it's still her house, so she goes inside. And so Lucian is like, "Hey, it's the police. I need to search the house." Randall's like, "You can't search my house." Of course, Larry is acting as his lawyer. He's like, "You don't have a warrant to search his house." And then so Marcy still lives there, so she's like, "Hey, I give him permission to search the house." So he goes upstairs, looks around, finds Eddie in the room in a compromising position in this like sex dungeon stuff. And so, it's actually quite funny. But he's like, "Let me get the key." And he's like, "Dude, no, just get me out of this stuff and then give me your gun." And he's like, "No," because Lucian already knows Eddie would do some like reckless stuff and like kill them all. So he's like, I'm not giving you the gun. I will go get the key and get you out of this. So he goes back downstairs. He's asking them what happened. Of course, they're denying everything because Larry is a lawyer. So he's already told Randall, don't say anything to incriminate yourself. Just don't say anything. Okay, so they wouldn't give him the key either. So the girls decided to go upstairs. The girls being Esperanza, Natalie, and Marcy go upstairs, and they see Eddie in this compromising position. They take pictures and everything. Okay, then they like rush right out of the house. Okay, so then finally Larry gives him the key, Lucian the key. Lucian says don't move. He goes upstairs to talk to Eddie and have him calm down. He asks him if he wants to press charges. Eddie's like, of course not, this is embarrassing. He takes him out of the chains and everything. They come downstairs. He's like, okay, Lucian, thanks so much for helping me. He walks out, and when he walks out, he grabs for Lucian's gun in his pocket and shoots at them. Shoots at Larry and at Randall, and Lucian has to like knock him away and to put the gun down. From the looks of it, I don't think anyone got hurt. Maybe someone got shot in the foot, but we shall see with next week's episode. Okay, I don't know if there's anything in there that I missed. Once Brad and Marcy pulled up to the house and she saw Larry's car outside of Randall's house, she connected the dots that Larry must have told Randall that she was pregnant with his baby. So Alex is off the hook with that one. Oh yes, and another very important thing, Natalie. She finally told everybody, because everybody's wondering, how in the world did Kelly even get a gun? She tells everybody, oh yeah, like I gave her my gun. And they're like, why would you do that? Like, she's not even supposed to have a gun. And she was like, well, like Eddie like was just lurking around in her backyard for whatever reason, and I felt like she wasn't safe. And Travis had got out of jail and everything, so it was like, let me just give her my gun so she can be safe. Honestly, if she wouldn't have killed him, he would have killed her. And they're like, you do realize that if he dies in this hospital, if he dies in the hospital, then you're in a lot of trouble. And she's like, I realize that. And I'm like, what women on this show are smart? Like, seriously. Like, Kelly, they could probably get rid of her character and I'd be okay with it, because Kelly is just like the dumbest, most nervous, like, character on the show. She doesn't think ever. She's always a nervous wreck, and she just makes dumb decisions. Natalie is just nosy, and she makes impulsive decisions. Esperanza is just stupid, and if Eddie wanted to get back with her, she would. Alex, like, she's just a pushover. Like, first of all, she was dumb for, like, cheating with Randall, but then now she doesn't even know who her baby's daddy is. And now on top of that, your husband has decided to come back home, and you guys are working it out, but then you still are okay with him talking to Marcy because you're just so scared he's going to leave. If you're that scared and you think it's going to be that easy for him to leave, then he's going to leave eventually anyway. If it just takes something that, like, small. Like, he's going to turn on you that quickly. Like, what smart woman is on this show? Like, y'all need to bring a new, like, character on the show that's all about female empowerment, because all of these females on this show are just weak, and it drives me insane. Okay, the only one that has a little bit of backbone, the only person on this show would be Lucian. Okay, he thinks logically. Anywho, that is my rant for the week for this show, and I'm hoping next week is better. It wasn't horrible, because it could have dragged on forever, and it didn't, but I'm gonna need the character development to pick up. I'm gonna need it to get better. Anywho, as always, like, comment, and subscribe. Check me out at mrsblogaholic.com. Bye.